Well, good morning, and here's a test video from the Midgård Blackship, but today in the great outdoors, because where I get my cement sand from, under the sunken greenhouse footprint. Today I'm working on the north side of the 1 kilometer Midgård grow snake, which this was designed to wrap around a hectare basically of this land. And as you can just see off up into the distance over the years, we've connected up almost half a kilometer on the north side, which turns around before it gets to the cottage around the greenhouse up there, and it swings around where we've sort of sculpted in community extension gardens in case our band grows bigger one day. But as yet it's not really necessary, other than members who want to plant freely their own choice of vegetables not included in the food forest development directly around the ship. So yeah, that is where we're at today. Sun's out, birds are singing, snow's melting, just a few patches left. It's good enough for me. So I'm doing a double whammy today after meeting with my daughter and talking potatoes. We needed to create space for this year to get at least 3,000 plants in to get back up to sustainability with them. So apart from the few beds that we don't have perennials in yet, the hugelkultur raised beds around the south of the ship, I think I needed to create space this year for another 1,000 at least. And if we buy more than that, like 5,000 to get started again, then we've got the extension gardens up there that people can plant the extra in. But I'm more concerned about getting food security up for the first few people who are active, including my daughter, in the Medicine Waste team. So I guess I've got space in some of the beds there that aren't in use this year for perennials for up to 2,000, I think. So I want to be sure I've created another space where we can shove in another 1,000. So this part of the snake here that we were building up with all the mixed stuff from the dig here that doesn't end up in the cement sand in the ship, then this was the prime target. It was close enough to the ship. It's just outside our zone 2 raised beds, which are in a circle around the ship, which are there, which I'll also use this year. So looking at this, if it just gets its topsoil layer and then horse poop, which is right there, very practical, then I think if I just sculpt this off today, we've got room for the extra 1,000 potatoes. Definitely 500 anyway, and if more is needed, then I have to dig out this hill of nettles anyway, which was always reserved for like survival food hills, native species. The nettles are dominant. I know people have a problem with stinging nettles, but latest research suggests that they're a superfood. We always knew they were a food, but we didn't know they were one of the highest forms of storable vitamin C you can get. And from an ecological perspective, they're one of the most hardiest species. They'll grow in full shade, they'll produce just about anywhere really. And just by flipping the roots somewhere, they'll keep on growing. So I'm going to take out this layer of the hill in my sculpting of this into a 2-terraced potato bed, and I'm going to flip it into the little valley here that's beside the snake, spread it out evenly, and then before we plant this year, we'll do lasagna beds basically to stop the nettles coming through and causing a problem for the potatoes. So we'll be getting a lot of cardboard sheeting we have lying around the place from cardboard boxes, layer it over this layer of topsoil with the nettle roots in, and then potatoes are one of the very few species that you can plant directly in poop, and they'll just take what they need without getting anything icky in the food. So we'll just pop the potatoes down on the wet cardboard. You need to wet it down a little bit so the roots can get into it, but not so much that the nettles grow through it. And then we'll bury those potatoes in about 20 to 30 centimeters of horse poop. I guess there's a ready supply here because, yes, there's horses. I don't think he'll go very far back in this little valley with just this little bit I've got to dig out. But the other thing I'm doing at the same time, I do like to stack my jobs here to make them more meaningful, keep the motivation high, is down below that topsoil I'm digging out for the sculpting is the prime cement and plaster sand I need. That's the yellow layer, the subsoil layer. So to finish off all the rooms in the Midgård Blackship, making this year the grand finale year, at least for the living sections, maybe not for the greenhouses, but we'll see. Then I need that chunk of sand digging out and filtering through a screen to get out all the small stones and roots and things. And then we're going to mix that with the green colour pigment, and for the bathroom and bedroom at least, we're going to try some coloured plaster to finally have some complete rooms in the ship that are usable as we try and get it legalised, re-registered as a legal dwelling, because it's not quite there yet. We have the environmental authorities coming back out because we're halfway through the application process to take care of our own feces, our own composting stations for dry toilets. That and the grey water botanical cells we want in the final greenhouse to handle our grey water. But so far everything's looking positive. One of our members has donated the money for the applications, so all we need to do now is talk the talk and show them exactly on the ground how we figured this stuff out. Give them the science, basically. But it's looking like for the next couple of hours at least, I'm going to be right here, removing that topsoil off the sand subsoil, flipping it up to get a nice sculpted south sloping potato bed. And then all the loose stuff I'll cover along this section of the grow snake here. There's another pile here that nettles have taken over, but that's one of my reserve topsoil piles, ready for when I transplant those baby trees over there, out of the way, out of the path of the snake. And then we'll keep going in a counterclockwise direction eventually, laying up more and more food forest, hugelkultur bed, which will wrap all the way around, and eventually the tail end will meet with the head end at the eastern entrance of the ship. And yeah, it's thought that it will be 1 kilometer of extra food forest for an expanded active professional team of senior caretakers for the Medicine Waste Corps. We will be completely food secure. But my work predominantly, while we're so few and while I'm on my own for most days here, is the cradle work with 1,000 species of food, fiber, fuels, medicines, everything needed to make a complete ecosystem, including ecosystem support species like nitrogen fixers and such. And then we'll breed them all up. We won't need to invest money anymore on each species. We'll learn the life cycles, we'll show respect, we'll learn their place in the natural community, what they do for each other and for us, and we'll puzzle it all together in the smallest ecological footprint experiment here for a cold climate in Västra Götaland, Sweden. So we're not quite there yet, and this is my day. So I'll probably do a new walk around video from the ship later on this evening, and definitely one that's promised for the Patreon channel, a little bit more in depth. So yeah, thank you for your curiosity so far. We'll see where this ends up by the end of the day. Bye for now.